What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today, I'm really excited to bring you my full review of the Vero Engineering Impulse Thin. Let's jump into it. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to go through some of the knife specs. Then we'll do some size comparisons to help you for a frame of reference of this knife. And then I'll jump into my thoughts and impressions. So let's start with the knife specs. The Vero Impulse Thin has a 3.65 inch M390 drop point blade. It has 4.95 inch handles, frame lock scale, overall length 8.65 inches, and claimed weight 5.2 ounces on the website. Let's grab the scale, check that weight really quick. So a little bit lighter, coming in at 5.1. Not that bad for a full-size titanium knife. How full size? Let's find out. Let me grab some comparison knives. We'll do some size reference here for you to give you an idea just how big this knife is. First, we're going to bring out the Demco AD 20.5, one of my favorite EDCs, and hopefully this is giving you a quick frame of reference for size. Then we're going to bring out the Spyderco Shaman. So as you can see, it is definitely more close in size to the Shaman, one knife that I really like for a full-size EDC knife. Now let's get this out of the way and bring out the Benchmade Bug Out, another knife that I like to use for size reference. As you can see, a nice size for EDC, good size and weight. And then we'll go ahead and bring out the SIG K320. And as you can see, this is even bigger than the SIG K320, which I still consider a full-size knife. Let's move these two out of the way. I got a couple of budget knives that I'm going to bring out here for frame of reference for my friends that are on a budget and carry budget knives or like to collect budget knives. Here is the Elementum 2 button lock, and we'll bring out the Civivi Praxis. And as you can see, this is actually more in size, in line with the size of the Civivi Praxis, and it dwarfs that button lock Elementum 2. So since we've established that this is full size, let's go ahead and line up the thickness with these full-size knives to see how it compares. It is the thin model after all, right? So as you can see, about the same thickness as the Praxis, so I do like that. Then we're going to go ahead and bring out the Shaman. And as you can see, it's going to bounce around a little bit on me. About as thin as the Shaman, so that makes you wonder, well, how thick is the full-size Impulse? Well, here we go. We have the full-size Impulse, and as you can see, it is quite a bit thinner than the full-size Impulse. And I do really quick for frame of reference, because the Impulse normally comes in a Tanto, want you to see that it is still roughly the same size overall as far as length, but it is much thinner than its original brothering. I don't know if that's the right way to phrase that, but anyway, we're going to keep moving along. Well, let's jump into the ergos. How does this feel in hand for a large hand reviewer? Man, this is butter. I like the size of this actually better than the Impulse XL. And it pained me a little bit to sell that one because I actually chased that one for the longest time and I really liked the looks of that one. But because the Impulse is right in that sweet spot for me, and it's thin, which is great for everyday carry, it's not going to be super bulky in the pants, and it is a drop point, I did feel like the Impulse and the Synapse XL were kind of occupying the same space. And this being the full titanium handle versus the other one being titanium with the red carbon fiber inlay, I feel like this one was a cleaner look. Now, the Gen 3s have the correct pocket clip on there that are much more comfortable in hand. You don't really notice that it's there. You can tell it's there because you're laying on it and you're not flat on the scale, but it's a much better design and much more comfortable in the hand, and it goes in and out of the pocket really, really, really good. This has all titanium hardware on it, so if you wanted to pimp it out a little bit, sort of like what I did with the full-size Impulse, you can. I don't know that I want to do that with both of these knives because I did it on the full size. I don't know if I want to do that or not. I think I kind of want to leave it alone, so let me grab it and bring it out here so you can see again. I did the hardware pivot, backspacer, hardware. Really, you only see a couple of bolts on the front side, and it does give it a little bit of pop of color. But the other difference here with this one is it does have the thumb hole on it, unlike the regular Impulse. So you can reverse flick this if you have your thumb on the pocket clip. I demonstrated the thumb flick. I can't get it. I don't know if anybody out there has smaller fingers. But it's kind of like this awkward kick out, which really is not like, I'd just rather use the reverse and then the flipper tab. So a little bit of differences there is the blade shape. Stop shaking. And then it does have the fuller on both sides, whereas you only have it on the reverse of the regular, the regular Impulse. I did put skiffs in here too, and I'm probably going to do the same for the thin. I just haven't had a chance yet, so I don't know if this also takes the 6mm. So I'll have to measure that when we do the disassembly. But ergos are super comfortable, great lockup. Awesome access to that lock bar, so if you like to pull, you can get the finger in there for that. If you like to lay your finger flat on there, it's going to sink in and grab onto it just great. And if you like to drop it, you can get in there really easy because of the way that they hollowed it out on this side, and then they gave a little bit of room in here, but it still didn't need much, even with it being the thinner version. Now, the deployment methods, I did mention a little bit here. Reverse fuller works awesome. Nice detent for the flipper tab, and I love the streamlined flipper tabs that Vero does. Keeps the lines nice and clean. And then if you want, because it does have that tall pocket clip, you can reverse flick it with the left hand, and it works really good with the flipper tab. It gave you plenty of space to land on back here, and it's very snappy. Now, this one is new. I have not had a chance to break this thin end, and I do want to go ahead and replace the bearings in here as well. You really can't see too well down in there, and I still don't know what happened to my flashlight that was out here. Beautiful drop point. Got a swedge out here. Nice thin blade. Has a fantastic edge from the factory. I probably will lay this back to about 18 degrees per side, but I'm probably going to use it a little while first. Beautiful stone wash finish on there. Looks really good. Plays with the light. Nice finish. And again, really useful drop point. But this now, to me, just took the place of my Synapse XL. Action is superb. It has a good weight to it. Ceramic bearings in the pivot that just drop shut. Awesome knife. And then for this, I believe what you have to do with this one is you have to remove this scale, and then under the when you remove this bolt to take the backspacer out, I believe that's where you will find both. I don't know if it's both. Is this? Oh, it is sunk in, so it might only have one screw and a pin, but it may have two screws, so I don't know. Not a reversible pocket clip, but that's okay. Vero has started dipping into making knives for lefties. Having said all that, this is a $300+ knife. Some alternative recommendations out there that I have for you if you're on a bit of a budget, going to be the Kungwu Tao. It's going to get you a very similarly sized knife. It is going to have very clean lines. I don't like the pocket clip as much on the Tao because it is that very flimsy, springy. It just doesn't match the knife. The pocket clip just doesn't match the knife. It is reversible, so it does have that going for it, but it's roughly about the same size, and you can get these regularly, I think, for under $200 still, which is a really sweet deal. Now, another knife that you can do if you don't have quite that much money, but you still want the full-size one, for about $110 over on White Mountain Knives, you can use my discount JD for EDC to save 10%. You'll get a 14C 28N blade, and you'll get a titanium frame lock with steel hardware. It doesn't have the titanium hardware, neither does the Kungwu. The Kungwu doesn't have titanium, it's steel. The Tucson steel doesn't have the titanium, but this has all titanium hardware. So there are some subtle differences in here. But I will say, you get integrated backspacers into either halves of the scale. So it does give it a very clean and unique look. It has a really nice pocket clip on there. I did anodize this one, so they kind of come like that. The other thing too, it does have micro milling on there. So that's really nice as well. Really cool for around 110 bucks if, again, on a budget. Now, if you're spending $300 on this knife, there are a couple of things that you can go out there and do. You can build a all titanium custom built, shaman, if you want a USA knife and you want to go into the aftermarket, or if you want to look on the used market, sometimes you can find a Sebenza for around $425. So a little bit more money, not quite a drop shut ball bearing knife, I know, but it is a USA made knife. And again, you can find them on the secondhand market, sometimes for $425, maybe $450 now that they've increased on price. So a little bit more than that. But I did want to throw a couple of recommendations out there for some folks that might be interested in alternative recommendations. But for me, this is an easy knife to recommend. It is a great design. Bestech has done a fantastic job for Vero as far as the execution. Very comfortable in hand. Now it's a thinner version. So if you didn't like the fullness of the Veros, now they have this thin knife out there. So you really have to think about what size you want. Do you want that full size, but it's thin, so it's very friendly to carry, still full enough in hand to where it's very comfortable? I think this is a great size. I think this was a very good move from Vero, and I think the drop point looks really good with the impulse handle. Really nice build. I really enjoyed it. But I hope you enjoyed this review. It's a little bit shorter because I do have the full impulse video out there. It might be a little bit longer, but I like this one a lot. Great build, ergos, slicey blade, great edge from the factory, all titanium hardware, which is a nice touch. Really just like the knife. I think it's really cool. And the only lettering on here, which I usually don't mention, is actually on the pocket clip. Really clean knife. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. Shout out to those of you out there that are liking and commenting. I appreciate that very much. All of you have a fantastic week. And until next time, peace.